a Seat on the Porch, episode 3 and the final in a series chatting with Aimee Surma. We talk about being single and navigating through some of those challenges. It's really a perspective that gets lost and really does need to be talked about. Fantastic talk. Aimee, thanks again for having a seat on the porch. So, now I want to circle back to some things you said early on. You have your house. You're all by yourself. You have Conrad.
Yes.
So, I'm married. I have a family. So I didn't have to go through Lena's sickness. We got quarantined. We were in the hospital for months and months and months and months. We was a 10-foot by 14-foot box. Room was pressurized. We were quarantined, and I think to the extent even more extreme than we are now, which is crazy to think. So we were sort of prepared for what happened.
Right.
Having a house, being able to walk outside, our family could take walks. We could drive in a car. We have to wear a mask. So our perspective is much different and much more healthy in terms of when this situation happened, when COVID happened. We were in a better place mentally to accept the change because it was an improvement from being stuck in a hospital in a pressurized room, dealing with cancer.
Yep.
So for somebody who isn't
say it,
you're going through your job, right? Somebody who it doesn't work from home. You're social. You're single. You're mingling.
Mingling, yes.
Just like everybody does. And when something like this happens, like I remember being in like having my first house and being all by myself. You want to go out, like you're going out, you're coming home because that's like your respite. You get away from things, but everything happens outside of the house. The last thing you want to do is be sitting at home all the time. And nobody visiting, nobody coming over. Like family is an important thing for you. So to take that, like how did you talked about it a little bit on how hard it was up front. So how did you manage when it all started to happen? How did you find yourself in a level playing field for yourself to know that I'm okay, this is fine, we're going to get through this? How did you deal with that? Like, what did you have to do?
I mean, I think I seriously had to totally lose it and like acknowledge the loneliness is getting to me. Like, I don't have anyone to talk about this to. Like, I don't have anyone coming in and out of the house. I didn't even hug anyone for months, no physical touch, no hugs. I'm a freaking hugger. Like before I got Conrad, I mean, I was losing it. I didn't have that to rely on someone else.
You got Conrad right before the pandemic hit. Like, what was it? A month?
Well, I got him in April.
Right. That's right. We were going through the process.
Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, but having a puppy at home with him 24/7, he's sleeping under the desk right now, which he usually does. He's very attached. It's a lot. It is a lot. And it's been nice having him here because now like I hug him 20 times a day and he loves it. He's here for it. He probably, if he didn't see anyone else, maybe if he had one other dog to play with, he'd be fine. And so that helped, just like having a pet, hugging him, being able to pet him, having my focus be on taking care of him and training him. Like that was motivating to me because it was like, I have to freaking get up on time because I have to feed him. I have to go take him outside. I mean, I wasn't sleeping though, because we would get up in the middle of the night. I tried crate training for 3 weeks, didn't work. So I wasn't sleeping. But I mean, for me, like I honestly, things happen for a reason. There is a reason that I got him during this time. And I am fortunate to be able to train him and not have to worry about what do I do all day if I'm at work. So that is the upside to it. Having him with me. Yeah, when I go back to work, it'll be hard, but it'll be doable. We can handle it. And I think too, you know, being single, dating on and off, it was like, how the F do you date in a pandemic? Huh?
The forgotten people, the single and mingling, the people are forgotten.
Right.
I don't have the first clue on how do you do that?
I know. I mean, I did it. I'm doing it now. There are certain things like, I'm not meeting every guy, but it's like, yeah, there are certain things like we can meet outside with a mask on, take the dog for a walk. Like after I vetted you, maybe stalked you a little bit on whatever I could find, talked to you on the phone a few times. That's the reality. I mean, that would happen anyways. Word of caution.
Right.
But yeah, at one point I was seeing someone and it was nice to have a companion like that. It was nice to have a focus that wasn't like, it was nice. Like, oh, okay, we're going to hang out. We're going to make dinner together or we're going to do this. Like I'm going somewhere.
Do you have to test? Do you have to like temperature before you come in the door? Do you have to take, well, how do you?
No, we were on like, it was like, oh, working from home. I'm working from home. I've only seen my parents. And then I've been wearing a mask when I go to my parents' house. I mean, I'm not seeing anyone anymore. It's, a few weeks now.
Right.
So, and he was honest with where he had been. So I really, I didn't have a concern at that point. Moving forward, yeah, now that it's gotten much worse, I'm a little hesitant about having someone come inside, but it's also the holiday season, so it's not like I'm like, hey, let me go on a date this week.
Right. Do you Zoom? Is that how you like introduce yourselves? Use the social media platforms and then Zoom?
I mean, I'm on the apps. You can find me on there if I'm within your age range and radius. Yeah, I'm still on the dating apps, but there's a conversation like, are you working from home? How have you stayed safe? Have you had COVID? Like, have you had an antibody test? Did you get your
so it's like
shot?
fill out this questionnaire and then we'll go.
Thank you. It's also like I'm a public health nurse. Like before we even have a conversation, do you know what that means?
That's true.
So yeah, but it is like in dating in general, there's a lot of talking on the apps that don't necessarily transition into meeting anyone. And I'm not really seriously dating. Like, yeah, would I like to have someone? Abso-freaking-lutely, especially right now. Like, another human being, please. It's so going to be dark ahead of us. We're heading into the darkest, coldest month.
Right,
and Conrad's only so helpful these days.
So does that cloud some of the judgment that you have going through the process of meeting somebody? Or do you really back yourself up and really kind of keep the irrational thoughts to the rational thoughts when you're going through this process?
You know what? I seriously had only gone on 2 dates. So one was like walking outside and the other we met outside. And then we ended up seeing each other for a few weeks. But yeah, the process I would use now would seriously be like, do you know anyone that's had it? Like, are you sick? Have you been around anybody? I would do the whole contact tracing thing. Like, I mean, I have to keep myself safe, but also like this is something I talk about with my therapist a lot is dating and what I'm looking for. And, I think I'm in this place where I've got so much joy inside of me. But
which
really,
I
feel like I told her last week, I was like, I'm freaking thriving right now. Like a puppy, a house, a new job, and a global pandemic. I mean, come on now. I was like, the people that I'm attracting now are much different, I would like to say, than I was attracting at the beginning of the year or even with the last person I dated. You learn a lot in a few weeks. And you really build your resilience for dating. So I think now what I'm looking for is more like of a genuine connection and weeding out like, if I don't see the same values, like you don't possess the same values that I have, like being genuine, kind, compassionate. Like if you aren't talking about your family and like that you rarely see them because you're nervous about COVID, or like you're working from home and this, that, and the other, then I don't like, that's not where I am right now.
Right.
And
So
if
how
you're
much
not
time?
serious,
Well, yeah.
I mean, intentional with dating. Do I think the next guy I date I'm going to marry? No, because they all run when I'm like, do you want to meet my family? No, I don't ask all of them. But, I think I've learned to be more intentional, but still have fun. Like, I can connect with people through the apps. It doesn't mean that I'm actually going to, like, we're going to date. We can have conversations. Like, that is, for me, that's how I'm socially connecting now.
How much time do you think you spend on social media apps?
Way more than I should. Like working from home, I'm less productive. It's hard because you're just sitting here and I'm like, my camera's not on during this meeting. I don't have to talk yet. Did anybody like Conrad's post? I have caught myself, and so that's like kind of one of my intentions moving forward is really utilizing my time. I'm sitting on like an exercise ball right now, and I have these stretches, a poster of stretches. So trying to be more mindful of my time and what I'm doing and incorporate healthier activities, whether that's stretching, power breathing, drinking 100 ounces of water a day, tracking that, making sure my calendar's up to date, filling my time with mindful things rather than mindless. There's a certain, I do need some mindless activity, which, Real Housewives, that's my jam. I need like something where I don't have to think about and where there isn't like trauma or serious situations happening. Because now if you see, I still watch Grey's Anatomy though. I will watch till the last episode I have to finish. But that's even triggering, I think. For me, I'm okay, but it can be triggering for other people because it's all about COVID.
Yeah.
And Station 19 too. So I see that in the near future. I think more TV shows are still going to incorporate COVID, and I think that could be triggering for people.
Absolutely right. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm mindful. I read a lot. I will recommend Burnout. It's a fantastic book. More so for women. It's really about completing the emotional cycle. It's how women have all these roles. Men do too, in traditional female-male relationships, households. But yeah, it's about how women carry the burden of so many things and how you see yourself and how you perceive others as seeing you and these expectations. And, it's a really good book. I really recommend it. So reading too helps me. I forgot what your question was. It was about.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Did I answer that?
That's a whole other conversation of being intentional, mindfulness. Yeah, there's a lot that could be said for that, especially now.
Yeah, I'm doing a presentation this week for work. So I'm doing presentations. They kind of stink right now because I'm figuring out what I want to present, and like, I'm still figuring that out. Like, I'm figuring out how to do this secondary trauma piece. So I'm owning that, these are probably not the greatest, but if I can give you a tool to use, next time will be better. And I think that's helped me too. Like, the place that I'm in is I do not expect perfection from myself anymore. Like, I'm just going to do this, and it's going to be what it's going to be, and I'm going to learn from it.
100%. And what's great? What's great about this conversation is this is exactly what Have a Seat on the Porch is all about. This is exactly what it is. It's a natural conversation. The porch is an analogy. It's not like a literal porch. It's an analogy of wherever you feel comfortable. Right now it's through Zoom, and I got trees behind me because I want to be outdoors, and there's an owl, and it's cold, and there's birds, and it's good feng shui. but this is where I'm comfortable, and you are where you're comfortable right now. And
Mhm.
that's exactly what Have a Seat on the Porch is all about, is having a natural conversation about whatever it is that's important to us right now.